A Taste of Freedom by Venerable Ajahn Chah. Page 5. That which looks over the various factors which arise in meditation is sati, mindfulness. Sati is life. Whenever we don't have sati, when we are heedless, it's as if we are dead. This sati is simply presence of mind. It's a cause for the arising of self-awareness and wisdom. Even when we're no longer in samadhi, sati should be present throughout. On meditation. To calm the mind means to find the right balance. If you try to force your mind too much, it goes too far. If you don't try enough, it doesn't get there. It misses the point of balance. Normally, the mind isn't still. It's moving all the time, but it lacks energy. Making the mind energetic and making the body energetic are not the same. To give the body energy, we have to exercise it, to push it, in order to make it strong. But to make the mind strong means to make it peaceful, not to go thinking of this and that. For most of us, the mind has never been peaceful. It has never had the energy of samadhi. So we establish it within a boundary. We sit in meditation, staying with, quote, the one who knows. If we force our breath to be too long or too short, we're not balanced. The mind won't become peaceful. It's like when we first start to use a pedal sewing machine. At first we just practice pedaling the machine to get our coordination right, before we actually sew anything. Following the breath is similar. We don't get concerned over how long or short, weak or strong it is. We just note it. We simply let it be, following the natural breathing. When it's balanced, we take the breathing as our meditation object. When we breathe in, the beginning of the breath is at the nose tip, the middle of the breath at the chest, and the end of the breath at the abdomen. This is the path of the breath. When we breathe out, the beginning of the breath is at the abdomen, the middle at the chest, and the end at the nose tip. We simply take note of this path of the breath at the nose tip, the chest, and the abdomen. Then at the abdomen, the chest, and the tip of the nose. We take note of these 3 points in order to make the mind firm, to limit mental activity so that mindfulness and self-awareness can easily arise. When we are adept at noting these 3 points, we can then let them go and note the in and out breathing, concentrating solely at the nose tip or the upper lip, where the air passes on its in and out passage. We don't have to follow the breath. We just establish mindfulness in front of us at the nose tip and note the breath at this one point, entering, leaving, entering, leaving. There's no need to think of anything special. Just concentrate on this simple task for now, having continuous presence of mind. There's nothing more to do, just breathing in and out. Soon the mind becomes peaceful, the breath refined. The mind and body become light. This is the right state for the work of meditation. When sitting in meditation, the mind becomes refined, but whatever state it's in, we should try to be aware of it, to know it. Mental activity is there together with tranquility. There is vitakka. Vitakka is the action of bringing the mind to the theme of contemplation. If there's not much mindfulness, there will not be much vitakka. Then vichara, the contemplation around that theme, follows. Various weak mental impressions may arise from time to time, but our self-awareness is the important thing. Whatever may be happening, we know it continuously. As we go deeper, we're constantly aware of the state of our meditation, knowing whether or not the mind is firmly established. Thus, both concentration and awareness are present. To have a peaceful mind does not mean that there's nothing happening. Mental impressions do arise. For instance, when we talk about the first level of tranquility, we say it has 5 factors. Along with vitaka and vichara, piti, meaning rapture, arises with the theme of contemplation, and then sukha, meaning happiness. These 4 things all lie together in the mind established in tranquility. They are as one state. The 5th factor is ekagata, or one-pointedness. You may wonder how there can be one-pointedness when there are all these other factors as well. This is because they all become unified on that foundation of tranquility. Together they're called a state of samadhi. They're not everyday states of mind. They are factors of tranquility. There are these 5 characteristics, but they do not disturb the basic tranquility. There is vitaka, but it does not disturb the mind. Vichara, rapture, and happiness arise, but do not disturb the mind. The mind is therefore as one with these factors. The first level of tranquility is like this. We don't have to talk about first jhana, second jhana, third jhana, and so on. Let's just call it, quote, a peaceful mind. As the mind becomes progressively calmer, it will dispense with vitaka and vichara, leaving only rapture and happiness. Why does the mind discard vitaka and vichara? This is because as the mind becomes more refined, the activity of vitaka and vichara is too coarse to remain. At this stage, as the mind leaves off vitaka and vichara, feelings of great rapture can arise. Tears may gush out. But as the samadhi deepens, rapture too is discarded, leaving only happiness and one-pointedness, until finally even happiness goes and the mind reaches its greatest refinement. There are only equanimity and one-pointedness. All else has been left behind. The mind stands unconcerned. Once the mind is peaceful, this can happen. You don't have to think a lot about it. It just happens by itself. This is called the energy of a peaceful mind. In this state, the mind is not drowsy. The 5 hindrances, sense desire, aversion, restlessness, dullness, and doubt, have all fled. But if mental energy is still not strong and mindfulness weak, there will occasionally arise intruding mental impressions. The mind is peaceful, but it's as if there's a cloudiness within the calm. It's not a normal sort of drowsiness, though. Some impressions will manifest. Maybe we'll hear a sound or see a dog or something. It's not really clear, but it's not a dream either. This is because these 5 factors have become unbalanced and weak. The mind tends to play tricks within these levels of tranquility. Quote, imagery will sometimes arise when the mind is in this state through any of the senses, and the meditator may not be able to tell exactly what is happening. Am I sleeping? No. Is it a dream? No, it's not a dream. These impressions arise from a middling sort of tranquility. But if the mind is truly calm and clear, we don't doubt the various mental impressions or imagery which arise. Questions like, did I drift out then? Was I sleeping? Did I get lost? Don't arise, for they are characteristics of a mind which is still doubting. Am I asleep or awake? Here it's fuzzy. This is the mind getting lost in its moods. It's like the moon going behind a cloud. You can still see the moon, but the clouds covering it render it hazy. It's not like the moon which has emerged from behind the clouds, clear, sharp, and bright. When the mind is peaceful and established firmly in mindfulness and self-awareness, there will be no doubt concerning the various phenomena which one encounters. It will truly be beyond the hindrances. We will clearly know in truth everything which arises in the mind. We do not doubt it because the mind is clear and bright. The mind which reaches samadhi is like this. However, some people find it hard to enter samadhi because it doesn't suit their tendencies. There is samadhi, but is not strong or firm. But one can attain peace through the use of wisdom, through contemplating and seeing the truth of things, solving problems that way. This is using wisdom rather than the power of samadhi. To attain calm in practice, it's not necessary to sit in meditation, for instance. Just ask yourself, what is that? And solve your problem right there. A person with wisdom is like this. Perhaps he can't really attain high levels of samadhi, although he develops just enough to cultivate wisdom. It's like the difference between farming rice and farming corn. One can depend on rice more than corn for one's livelihood. Our practice can be like this. We depend more on wisdom to solve problems. When we see the truth, peace arises. The two ways are not the same. Some people have insight and are strong in wisdom but do not have much samadhi. When they sit in meditation, they aren't very peaceful. They tend to think a lot, contemplating this and that, until eventually they contemplate happiness and suffering and see the truth of them. Some incline more towards this than samadhi. Whether standing, walking, sitting or lying, enlightenment of the Dhamma can take place. Through seeing, through relinquishing, they attain peace. They attain peace through knowing the truth without doubt, because they've seen it for themselves. Other people have only little wisdom, but their samadhi is very strong. They can enter very deep samadhi quickly, but not having much wisdom, they cannot catch their defilements. They don't know them. They can't solve their problems. But regardless of whichever approach we use, we must do away with wrong thinking, leaving only right view. We must get rid of confusion, leaving only peace. Either way, we end up at the same place. There are these two sides to practice, but these two things, calm and insight, go together. We can't do away with either of them. They must go together. That which looks over the various factors which arise in meditation is sati, mindfulness. This sati is a condition which, through practice, can help other factors to arise. Sati is life. Whenever we don't have sati, when we're heedless, it's as if we're dead. If we have no sati, then our speech and actions have no meaning. This sati is simply presence of mind. It's a cause for the arising of self-awareness and wisdom. Whatever virtues we have cultivated are imperfect if lacking in sati. Sati is that which watches over us while standing, walking, sitting and lying. Even when we're no longer in samadhi, sati should be present throughout. Whatever we do, we take care. A sense of shame will arise. Note, this is a shame based on knowledge of cause and effect, rather than mere emotional guilt. We will feel ashamed about things we do which aren't correct. As shame increases, our collectedness will increase as well. When collectedness increases, heedlessness will disappear. Even if we don't sit in meditation, these factors will be present in the mind. As this arises because of cultivating sati, develop sati. This is the Dhamma which looks over the work we are doing or have done in the past. It has real usefulness. We should know ourselves at all times. If we know ourselves like this, right will distinguish itself from wrong, and the path will become clear and cause all the shame to dissolve. Wisdom will arise. We can bring the practice all together as morality, concentration, and wisdom. To be collected, to be controlled, this is morality. The firm establishing of the mind within that control is concentration. Complete overall knowledge within the activity in which we're engaged is wisdom. The practice in brief is just morality, concentration, and wisdom, or in other words, the path. There's no other way. Page 13. With right samadhi, no matter what level of calm is reached, there is awareness. There is full mindfulness and clear comprehension. This is the samadhi which can give rise to wisdom. One cannot get lost in it. Practitioners should understand this well. The path in harmony. Today I would like to ask you all, are you sure yet? Are you certain in your meditation practice? I ask because these days there are many people teaching meditation, both monks and lay people, and I'm afraid you may be subject to wavering and doubt. If we understand clearly, we will be able to make the mind peaceful and firm. You should understand the Eightfold Path as morality, concentration, and wisdom. The path comes together as simply this. Our practice is to make this path arise within us. When sitting meditation, we're told to close the eyes, not to look at anything else, because now we are going to look directly at the mind. When we close our eyes, our attention comes inwards. We establish our attention on the breath, center our feelings there, put our mindfulness there. When the factors of the path are in harmony, we will be able to see the breath, the feelings, the mind, and its moods for what they are. Here, we will see the focus point, where samadhi and the other factors of the path converge in harmony. When we're sitting in meditation, following the breath, think to yourself that now you're sitting alone. There's no one sitting around you. There's nothing at all. Develop this feeling that you're sitting alone until the mind lets go of all externals, concentrating solely on the breath. If we're thinking, this person's sitting over here, that person is sitting over there, there is no peace. The mind doesn't come inwards. Just cast all that aside until you feel there's no one sitting around you, until there's nothing at all, until you have no wavering or interest in your surroundings. Let the breath go naturally. Don't force it to be short or long or whatever. Just sit and watch it going in and out. When the mind lets go of all external impressions, the sounds of cars and such will not disturb you. Nothing, whether sights or sounds, will disturb you, because the mind doesn't receive them. Our attention comes together on the breath. If the mind is focused and won't concentrate on the breath, take a full deep breath, as deep as you can, and then let it all out till there's none left. Do this 3 times and then re-establish your attention. If the mind is confused and won't concentrate on the breath, take a full deep breath, as deep as you can, and then let it all out until there's none left. Do this 3 times and then re-establish your attention. The mind will become calm. It's natural for it to be calm for a while, and then restlessness and confusion may arise again. When this happens, concentrate, breathe deeply again, and then re-establish your attention on the breath. Just keep going like this. When this has happened many times, you will become adept at it. The mind will let go of all external manifestations. External impressions will not reach the mind. Sati will be firmly established. As the mind becomes more refined, so does the breath. Feelings will become finer and finer. The body and mind will be light. Our attention is solely on the inner. We see the in-breaths and out-breaths clearly. We see all impressions clearly. We will see the coming together of morality, concentration, and wisdom. This is called the path in harmony. When there is this harmony, our mind will be free of confusion. It will come together as one. This is called samadhi. After watching the breath for a long time, it may become very refined. The awareness of the breath will gradually cease, leaving only bare awareness. The breath may become so refined it disappears. Perhaps we're just sitting, as if there's no breathing at all. Actually, there is breathing, but it seems as if there's none. This is because the mind has reached its most refined state. There is just bare awareness. It has gone beyond the breath. The knowledge that the breath has disappeared becomes established. What we will take as our object of meditation now? We just take this knowledge as our object. That is, the awareness that there's no breath. Unexpected things may happen at this time. Some people experience them, some don't. If they do arise, we should be firm and have strong mindfulness. Some people see that the breath has disappeared and get a fright. They are afraid they might die. Here we should know the situation just as it is. We simply notice that there's no breath and take that as our object of awareness. This, we can say, is the firmest, surest type of samadhi. There is only one firm, unmoving state of mind. Perhaps the body will become so light it's as if there's no body at all. We feel like we're sitting in empty space. All seems empty. Although this may seem very unusual, you should understand that there's nothing to worry about. Firmly establish your mind like this. When the mind is firmly unified, having no sense impressions to disturb it, one can remain in that state for any length of time. There will be no painful feelings to disturb us. When samadhi has reached this level, we can leave it when we choose. But if we come out of this samadhi, we do so comfortably, not because we've become bored with it or tired. We come out because we've had enough for now. We feel at ease. We have no concerns at all. If we can develop this type of samadhi, then if we can sit, say 30 minutes or an hour, the mind will be cool and calm for many days. When the mind is cool and calm like this, it is clean. Whatever we experience, the mind will take up and investigate. This is a fruit of samadhi. Morality has one function, concentration has another function, and wisdom another. These factors are like a wheel. We can see them all within the peaceful mind. When the mind is calm, it has collectedness and restraint because of wisdom and the energy of concentration. As it becomes more collected, it becomes more refined, which in turn gives morality the strength to increase in purity. As our morality becomes purer, this will help in the development of concentration. When concentration is firmly established, it helps in the arising of wisdom. Morality, concentration, and wisdom help each other. They are interrelated like this. In the end, the path becomes one and functions at all times. We should look after the strength which arises from the path, because it is the strength which leads to insight and wisdom. On dangers of samadhi. Samadhi is capable of bringing much harm or much benefit to the meditator. You can't say it brings only one or the other. For one who has no wisdom, it is harmful. But for one who has wisdom, it can bring real benefit. It can lead him to insight. That which can be most harmful to the meditator is absorption samadhi, jhana, the samadhi with deep, sustained calm. This samadhi brings great peace. Where there's peace, there's happiness. Where there's happiness, attachment and clinging to that happiness arise. The meditator does not want to contemplate anything else. He just wants to indulge in that pleasant feeling. When we have been practicing for a long time, we may become adept at entering this samadhi very quickly. As soon as we start to note our meditation object, the mind enters calm and we don't want to come out to investigate anything. We just get stuck on that happiness. This is a danger to one who is practicing meditation. We must use upachara samadhi. Here we enter calm, and then when the mind is sufficiently calm, we come out and look at outer activity. Note, outer activity refers to all manner of sense impressions. It is used in contrast to the inner activity of absorption samadhi, where the mind does not go out to external sense impressions. Looking at the outside with the calm mind gives rise to wisdom. It is hard to understand because it's almost like ordinary thinking and imagining. When thinking is there, we may think the mind isn't peaceful, but actually that thinking is taking place within the calm. There's contemplation, but it doesn't disturb the calm. We may bring thinking up in order to contemplate it. Here we take up the thinking to investigate it. It's not that we're aimlessly thinking or guessing away. It's something that arises from a peaceful mind. This is called awareness within calm and calm within awareness. If it's simply ordinary thinking and imagining, the mind won't be peaceful. It will be disturbed. But I'm not talking about ordinary thinking. This is a feeling that arises from the peaceful mind. It's called contemplation. Wisdom is born right here. So there can be right samadhi and wrong samadhi. Wrong samadhi is where the mind enters calm and there's no awareness at all. One could sit for 2 hours or even a day, or all day, but the mind doesn't know where it's been or what's happened. It doesn't know anything. There's calm, but that's all. It's like a well-sharpened knife which we don't bother to put to any use. This is a deluded type of calm because there's not much self-awareness. The meditator may think he has reached the ultimate already, so he doesn't bother to look for anything else. Samadhi can be an enemy at this level. Wisdom cannot arise because there is no awareness of right and wrong. With right samadhi, no matter what level of calm is reached, there is awareness. There's full mindfulness and clear comprehension. This is the samadhi which can give rise to wisdom. One cannot get lost in it. Practitioners should understand this well. You can't do without this awareness. It must be present from beginning to end. This kind of samadhi has no danger. You may wonder, where does the benefit arise? How does the wisdom arise from samadhi? When right samadhi has been developed, wisdom has the chance to arise at all times. When the eye sees form, the ear hears sound, the nose smells odor, the tongue experiences taste, the body experiences touch, or the mind experiences mental impressions. In all postures, the mind stays with full knowledge of the true nature of these sense impressions. It doesn't follow them. When the mind has wisdom, it doesn't pick and choose. In any posture, we're fully aware of the birth of happiness and unhappiness. We let go of both of these things. We don't cling. This is called right practice, which is present in all postures. These words, all postures, do not refer only to bodily postures. They refer to the mind, which has mindfulness and clear comprehension of the truth at all times. When samadhi has been rightly developed, wisdom arises like this. This is called insight, the knowledge of the truth. There are two kinds of peace, the coarse and the refined. The peace which comes from samadhi is the coarse type. When the mind is peaceful, there is happiness. The mind then takes this happiness to be peace. But happiness and unhappiness are becoming and birth. There is no escape from samsara here, because we still cling to them. So happiness is not peace. Peace is not happiness. The other type of peace, that which comes from wisdom. Here we don't confuse peace with happiness. We know the mind which contemplates and knows happiness and unhappiness as peace. We know the mind which contemplates and knows happiness and unhappiness. That mind we know as peace. The peace which arises from wisdom is not happiness, but is that which sees the truth of both happiness and unhappiness. Clinging to those states do not arise. The mind rises above them. This is the true goal of all Buddhist practice. End of page 20.